Welcome back to another reading and correcting of A Wasteful Death. With me, Kindar, the Tiger writes. Ty, the Tiger's supervisor. If you want to listen to live, 8 a.m. time on Twitch. And today we are doing chapter 19. Trembor looked at the display as he buckled up. The way Marlot was driving and cursed, the higher chance he'd hit something. Or activated the pursuit code to force her stop them. The wolf's current state, the officer might not survive the encounter. He pulled out his pad. Calm down. We won't get there any faster if you have an accident. Cal, living across the hall from Christian, said he spends all his time at the gym. Plotted the route on his pad and traffic conditions over it. He didn't want to think of Marlot barreling through. What are you thinking for opportunity? Or asked. Hoped that getting the wolf to focus allowed him to calm down. He owns the gym. No one's going to keep track of his movement. He leaves his ID there so that when the enforcers do check, he's nowhere near the house. You can bet if we checked, he wasn't training anyone during the time frame of a death. Take the second right. There's an accident ahead. Said before picking the thread of the conversation back up. But the check would have brought up that his car in the vicinity of her house. So he takes his car. The entire screen does he. Customers are going to be busy for hours and willing to bet he has a master code for the lockers. Marlot slammed his hand against the table. What really pisses me off is I never picked up the scent of his lies. Trembor grabbed the armrest until the car settled. Can't beat up because of that. He's a reptile. They don't have much of a scent to catch, and that place was a soup of scent. I don't think they've been able to pick out a skunk out of them. And even if you had been able to smell his lies, how do you know reptiles have the same scent code mammals do? Left at the light. When this is over, I'm taking a course on multi-species body language reading as scent interpretation, no matter what the cost. And the turn is motive, probably revenge. She used him after all. Trembor nodded and focused, giving direction. Now Marlot was driving in a more sensible manner. They reached the gym. Marlot brought the car to a squealing stop in front to the sidewalk. Trembor had unbuckled ahead of time and without the moment before Trembor burst inside and scoured the room. Reptile. Iguana was in the back and their eyes met. Tristan bolted to the back door. What do you think here? A gruff gorilla started saying, blocking Trembor's way, but the lion bowled him over, not even glancing back to his groaning form on the floor. Marlot jumped over him, following the lion. The door led to an office with another door on the back wall, slowly swinging open. Trembor looked around the room to make sure Kristen wasn't trying to ambush them, then sprinted for the door. They ran through a corridor cramped with barbells of food and crates of drinks. Halfway down, they smelled fresh air. Trembor elbowed the door open and ran outside. Marlot continued down the corridor to a door visible on the left. It was storage with more boxes and crate. Made sure the iguana wasn't hiding there, then backtracked to the outside door. Marlot scanned the area as soon as he stepped outside and sniffed. He was in a back alley littered with trash. He could smell the iguana, but Trembor's scent was strong. Followed it to the end of the alley and Trembor had pushed aside in the lion's wake. The wake would be them moving. Yeah, okay. Aside, they scream obscenities in the lion's direction, although he was too far away to hear them. Marlot ran, and someone yelled at him, "Get off the street! This ain't a place to hunt! It's illegal!" He didn't have the time to correct whoever was shouting. Trembor walked toward him, smelling the air. Marlot sniffed around and caught a faint. He reached the alley at the same time, and he moved slower this time, but was careful not to lose the scent. The scent led them to the door of an old, boarded-up building. They checked the stairwell beyond, cautiously went up, keeping an eye out for the iguana. One floor up, the stairs. One floor up, stairs ended at a dimly lit room that spanned the entire floor. Barely enough light for them to see. It might have been a call center. Partitions still stood here and there for light. They provided places for Kristen to hide. The rest, the floor was littered with desks, worn chairs, rusted filing. They didn't see any other exit. Gaps in the windows were large enough for one to fit. Kristen? Voice boomed in the quiet space. Can't run anymore. Harold closed his eyes and focused. He could make out the creaking walls and the wind rattling. Huh. He couldn't hear could make out creaking walls, wind rattling. He couldn't hear the iguana breathe or move. That's what you think, a harsh response. Wolf's ears swiveled, and he opened it. There, on the other side of the room, was a large cabinet. That's where Kristen. Marlot looked at Trembor, who nodded and indicated he go around the right, while Trembor went left. Why did you kill her? Or asked, moving quietly. Marlot mirrored him, standing on the wall, and kept an eye on the cabinet, preparing in case Kristen bolted. Are you telling me you don't think she deserved it? Iguana replied, I can't be the only recipient of her twisted desires still alive. How many broken males are out there because of her? How many more was she going to hurt? Marlot focused on the voice, something rustling. So you're saying you did it for them? Or asked. Sorry, but that scent went bad a long time ago. You said you didn't hate her, so there's no way you'd kill her for a bunch of people you didn't even. Look, I didn't mean to kill her, okay? I just wanted to see her again, show her what I'd made of myself. Oh, maybe reconnect with her? Didn't work, did it? She's dead, isn't she? What happened? Concerned. I tried explaining things to her. You know, how I emulated her, how I was just like her, so we were perfect for each other. Paused. Instead of appreciating what I'd done, she insulted me. She called me. Voice cracked. In the ensuing silence, Marlot heard a soft click. I'm not going to repeat. She called. It hurts too much. I got angry then. I wanted her to stop saying those ugly things about me. She fell, and I was on top of her. I showed her how much of a male I was. Marlot watched as Trembor stopped moving in the middle of just like her. Marlot heard the growl forming in the lion's throat. You're the one who raped all those females. Yes, I did. Kristen stood and pointed something at Trembor, using two hands to hold it. There was a flash of light and an explosion, and Trembor staggered back against the window. The boards broke away and fell back. Okay, I think I know what. Battling boards. I think this was my setup. My attempt at setting up the boards on the windows weren't exactly flush, and he fell back. Marlowe had a moment to wonder how Christian had gotten hold of a gun. Only the protectors had access to it. Then he heard Trembor's body hit the ground. Marlowe's eyes narrowed on the iguana. Christian ceased to be a criminal. He wasn't prey. or even meat anymore. He was the one who had hurt Marlot's lion. There was only one thing someone who did that could be: dead. Time seemed to slow down for the wolf as his hunter's instinct. He ran toward his target. Tristan leveled the gun at him and Marlot jumped behind a desk. He didn't slow as a hole exploded in the column next to him. He was up and running again. Tristan aimed the gun at him again, but this time Marlot go for cover. He was past caring what happened to him. He wanted vengeance. One shot went wide by the time Christian aimed again, Marlot was close enough to bat the weapon out of his hand. Iguana's eyes went wide as Marlot's jaws went for his neck. They closed and the teeth dug deep. Marlot relished the taste of the iguana's blood. Christian tried to force the wolf to release him. He punched him in the chest, but his blows didn't have any effect. The wolf growled and shook his head wildly, making the iguana stagger a few steps back. Horror filled the reptile as he realized the wolf still had part of his throat in his mouth. Christian put a hand over his throat, trying to stop the blood from flowing out. He wheezed and pleaded silently with Marlot. He reached out and gurgled something before falling to it. The wolf watched him fall to his side, still grasping for him with a bloodied hand. Marlot spat the chunk of at him, locked eyes with him as the iguana's breathing slowed, then stopped. He stared as the blood pooled on the body, transfixed by it. A sense of elation overtook him, so strong that he lifted his head and howled. When he looked down at the body again, he had a satisfied muzzle. This concludes chapter 19 of A Waste. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to. Next one will be up. Next one is up. Subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the book, as well as the other in the series, they are available on all retailers. Want to support me? That's on my Patreon, where you get access to not everything I've written. If you listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitter. The links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.